Congratulations, random citizen that lives on whatever Forge world you live on. You have the illustrious opportunity of becoming a member of the Cult Mechanicus or the Adeptus Mechanicus for you Imperial types. Now, this is a career path that is stretched with a lot of things, mainly the stripping of your flesh, because the flesh is weak, and only by becoming machine can you become truly holy. And this is a very confusing, on the surface, organization to be a part of, so I'm gonna break it down for you and help you understand what your career path in this organization could look like. First up, your recruitment, where you are gonna start out as a menial worker. You have the illustrious job of doing the work that is too complicated for a server to do. But don't worry, this work is still holy in some way, because every part makes the machine work. Now, while you're doing this and you're, I don't know, screwing something in on an assembly line or hammering some metal into place, this is a good time to be brushed up with the religion of the Cult Mechanicus. First things first, we have the machine god that you worship. The machine god is a perfect deity, the deity that created everything. All the intelligence in the world, all the machines, all the knowledge that we experience. To learn is divine. This machine god, he put everything out in the universe for you to find. All technology, all development, it exists somewhere for you to discover. As well, the machine god is what gives life to your machines. It's what created the machine spirits that are inside of everything. Now, what is a machine spirit? I don't know. No one really does, to be completely honest with you. Because the machine spirit kind of, okay. So it's like this personified case of the machine as like, if you have a car or something, like a tank that you like, this is a little hard to control. It's a little temperamental. It is literally temperamental. And you have to appease your machine spirit if you want your thing to work correctly. Now, this is something basic as like a bolter. Just like wave some incense, say a nice little prayer, give it a rub down of some holy oil, and you're good. But this is like a night? Oh boy. That's like a week, maybe 2 week long process of pure ritual, no breaks. Now, another key aspect of the Mechanicus is that they worship a trinity. Like, it's the Christian Trinity. If you know the Christian Trinity of like God, Jesus, the Holy Ghost, you understand this concept. But instead, they have the Omnissiah. The Omnissiah is, well, the Emperor. Because you might be wondering, this is very religious. I know the Imperium doesn't like religion. How do these guys stay in power? Well, it's the fact that the Emperor is considered divine. The Omnissiah is the physical manifestation of the machine god. They're not the same. They're not, people use these interchangeably. It is not the same thing. Kinda, it's the same way that like, you know, it's the Trinity is for Christianity. And then for the third one, we have the motive force. The motive force being the thing that gives all motion and energy in the universe. This is, it's the Holy Ghost. And alongside all of this is your quest for knowledge. Like I mentioned with the machine god, the universe is full of information and knowledge, especially during those moments of the Dark Age humanity, where everything got separated, a lot of people died, and they left all this super nice archaeotech just laying around. This is your quest for knowledge. The machine god put all the knowledge out in the universe, so you gotta go find it. You gotta discover it all. It's up to you, man, especially if you find an STC device, because that's gonna have the actual information to build something new and very good. This is super valuable, and that's the main thing you hunt for if you're out exploring the galaxy as a member of the Mechanicus. But all right, we got the religion out of the way, so there's a couple avenues that you can already go down. First and foremost, I really hope you were a test tube baby. If you were born a vet, you were probably bred to become a tech priest, which means you're already well on your way as a toddler. Good job. I imagine you're not. You're most likely just a guy who was born on the Forge world or moved there. So all I can really say is, I hope you don't become a Skitarii. Genuinely. So the Skitarii are you either join it or you're conscripted. The Skitarii are the main military fighting force for the Mechanicus, because tech priests are pretty important. You can't just have a whole legion of them. The Skitarii are their foot soldiers. Also, to make a Skitarii, you undergo extensive cybernetic augmentations, like extensive. You are more machine than person, and yeah, suddenly, you fight in perfect synchronicity with everyone around you. It's like, it's really weird. The idea of saying no to your superior officer just doesn't cross your mind. I wonder why. need it be a suicide charge into a bunch of orcs or jumping into a vat of like battery acid to help continue power a weapon for war. You're just not gonna say no, you're gonna fight. Not a fate I think you wanna be on, which is why really early on, I think you need to study your shit. Get good at religion, get good at building, get good at knowledge, and try your best to get the attention of a tech priest. Who a tech priest might be so impressed with you, you are sponsored to become their assistant, and you will learn underneath them. Under the tech priest tutelage, you will learn a lot of things. And you better remember it. You got a lot of information that's gonna enter, and you will eventually have some robot parts to help you actually remember it, the same way a computer can. But you'll be doing all sorts of things. Holy rituals, writing in some hymns on your holy computer. So eventually you become a full-blown tech priest. Congratulations, you now get better parts, and mainly those like extra limbs that they got, mechadendrites, you now get to have some. Be it a big claw, a gun arm, or whatever you need really. From here, it's time to specialize and invest your time in some certain subject or move your way up the ranks, as there is actually a codified ranking. This is the hierarchy for the Mechanicus that I'm going to break down like bottom to top. And also, like, the Mechanicus isn't just machines. They actually have a lot of different studies that they do. Like, you can actually be a biologist member of the Mechanicus. Like, you believe the flesh is weak. But yeah, you gotta figure out some weird stuff about the flesh every once in a while. Or you learn about genetics. You're really good with specifically robotics or augmentations, like stuff like that. You can specialize. And then there are additional specializations that are seen here. Now, the 4 that you see on this hierarchy, I'm gonna break down and just quickly explain. They're not that detailed, to be honest, so it's not that long. First, we have the Electro Priests, and I really like the Electro Priests, which actually, fun fact, if you play Rogue Trader, you get to see what the Electro Priests are like, and they're really cool. So the Electro Priests worship the motive force above all. And yeah, they are also all about electricity, specifically with a really goofy augment where they channel electricity through their nervous system that gets stronger and stronger the more hyped up on religious fervor they get. So the more just ecstatic about the motive force, the more electricity, until they literally just blast you with living lightning. They are so fucking cool. We also have rune priests, and rune priests, well, they write runes. A real big guess there. But also, specifically, they induct new technology that is discovered into the Mechanicus. They make sure ritualistically everything is answered for and brought in safely. Also, they have apparently the best lateral thinking in the Mechanicus. To the point where if a bunch of other tech priests are really just fucking stumped on some like question or problem, they call in these guys to come in because they actually can think in more human logic rather than robot and computer brains. And these last 2 are honestly really quick. We have a transmechanic, which is essentially an engine seer, which, okay, there's a lot of terms I'm throwing out. An engine seer is specifically a tech priest that tags along with a guardsman regiment. The ones that are out fixing all of their like equipment in the field, that is an engine seer. Specifically, a transmechanic is one that fixes all the communication devices and anything that has to do with communication, satellites, just information, vox links, that's all them. And then there's the lex mechanic, which is basically a data analyst. So they're the ones who actually enter in all of the information into like databases to be pulled from by other tech priests. But congratulations, you've achieved a promotion, this upper hierarchy tier. So these ones, again, there's not super complicated bits here. I'm gonna break them down pretty simply. A Magos is something you've heard all the time. Magos is thrown around a lot. The Magos is essentially the top of their field for whatever specialization and specific study they go in. Like, for example, I mentioned, biology. You can be a biologist, like tech priest, that's your thing. So if you master that field, you're a Magos biologist. It's like a little prefix to slap on in front of your name. Also, the main important bit is the fact that at this point, one of the reasons you've become a Magos is because most of your flesh is gone and you're mostly robot parts. Because that's also how you track your hierarchy and your ascension in this group. And then we have the Logos, which is basically like, they're just data analysis, but better and cooler. So these guys are like really good at it. They interpret the data and come to conclusions. Like, you have your accountant at whatever who's giving you some like business proposal and saying like, yeah, I see the stock's going up like this. Here's a little graph trend. But like, picture that boring ass business meeting with the same aesthetic as talking to the Oracle of Delphi, because this is a religious experience. This isn't just some guy telling you about trends and data. No, this is a prophecy fulfiller. He goes out, he gives these beautiful prophecies, and everyone's like, oh my God, oh man, this is religious. Then we have the generators. I think I'm saying that right. So these ones are specifically, they're like biologists, but specifically working with genetics. This is very important. They go out and they deal with biology and genetics and work around it. A lot of times they, again, attach themselves to some larger fleet to do their work. They have two kind of things that they do. One of them is check out and make sure that populations they discover or populations they're with don't start sprouting weird undocumented mutations, since that is a recipe for disaster. There are two culprits for when that happens. Shit like chaos or gene stealers, an important thing to catch. The other thing is the flesh is weak. We all know this, we can all agree, cringe ass flesh. But sometimes Xenos got some really cool flesh that can do some really cool things. So what they do is they get samples, they study, they experiment, they capture to discover better ways of killing said Xenos. And then lastly, the Artisans. The Artisans are so simple. They're tech priests who create new technologies, and then even more, they specifically find old tech and actually restore it for newer use. Now you might be thinking, wait a tick, I've heard around. Isn't that heresy to do that? That's a thing you hear a lot. The Mechanicus, invention is heresy. You can't do that, that's awful. There's nuance here, there's actual nuance, it's not fully that cut and dry, as tech heresy is a big deal, yes. But this is also a religion. So, a religion that has many different interpretations and different people put more and less stock into it, you're gonna have like more conservative members of your religion that are very, very stringent in the idea of no invention. The reason for this is because, like with the Machine God in the quest of knowledge, the Machine God put out all this beautiful shit in the universe, and you're just gonna make your own? That's awful, dude. You're spitting in the face of the Machine God. Which also, I've seen this described honestly pretty well, of like, this sounds goofy, but if you're in a religion, like you're Christian, and you run over to your pastor and tell him like, yo, I wrote this new page in our Bible. It's pretty cool. I think we could add it in officially. People are gonna laugh at you. That's fucking weird. That's basically what's happening in their eyes. But then also there are more progressive members of the Mechanicus. Those that believe, yeah, we gotta invent shit, dude. We need new stuff. Have you seen what's outside? Ugh, God, it's terrifying. So it's necessary. Granted, a lot of them, depending on where you're operating, may or may not get promotions, but they do still operate. If you want my advice, if you believe in more of this line of thinking, go find Belisarius Call and be his friend. He's doing the most of the inventing right now, and he's in a pretty safe bet. He's not gonna get excommunicated from the church at any point. He's hanging out with Gilliman. Though honestly, if you really want to avoid tech heresy, there's just like three main things you can't do. You can't work with AI, you can't work with the warp, and you can't try to alter the human genome. Those are the three. Just ignore that Call did the last one. It may be the first one. So far, I don't think he's messed with the warp. It's easier to say what he hasn't experimented with and invented. And honestly, yeah, that's about it. The Mechanicus are not that complicated. They just have a lot of terms. So many terms to delve through and get the context of. But essentially, once you learn kind of what each one means, it makes more sense. So you're out and ready, you can join the Mechanicus, rise up in the ranks, and, you know, I don't know, get some cool robot parts. I certainly would like it. I've been sick enough in 2023. I kind of agree with the Mechanicus. They got a fucking point. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. If you like this, like, comment, subscribe, do that stuff, join my membership, and see ya.